In the case of King v. Burwell, Justices Roberts and Kennedy joined with the 4 liberal justices to strike down the new challenge to the Affordable Care Act, thus defeating it 6-3, surprisingly. So if they had ruled the other way, it's estimated that 6 to 7 million people would have lost their health care insurance. So this is a win. This is a win for America, this is a win for middle-class America, and this is a win for the poor. So, in the majority opinion, Roberts writes, Congress passed the Affordable Care Act to improve health insurance markets, not destroy them. He adds, petitioners' plain meaning arguments are strong, but the Act's intent and structure compel the conclusion that Section 36B, which is the part that was challenged, allows tax credits for insurance purchased on any exchange created under the Act. So this is a great opinion. I'm actually a little bit surprised, although Justice Roberts had sided with the majority opinion when he protected Obamacare during the last challenge. I was a little bit skeptical that he would do the same because he got a lot of criticism from conservatives. And I'm also surprised that Justice Kennedy joined with him because he was not, I believe, in the majority opinion last time. When it comes to the dissenting opinion, Justice Scalia loses his mind. He writes, words no longer have meaning, which is ironic coming from a guy who thinks that money is free speech and that corporations are people. So he adds, our only evidence of what Congress meant comes from the terms of the law, and those terms show beyond all questions that tax credits are available only on state exchanges. Huffington Post writes, in arguing against this, for this to be true, the authors of the Affordable Care Act would all have to be lying about their true intent on subsidies. So if you want to know on the intent of the legislator, well, you can ask them, Justice Scalia, but he's lost his mind. He's not really a real justice anymore. He's no longer espousing a jurisprudent opinion. He's just espousing his own political opinion, which there's going to be bias in the Supreme Court. These are humans, but I mean, you don't have to be so overt about it. Now, when it comes to the opinions of the GOP candidates for 2016, they're pretty interesting. I'm going to read them off to you. So, Marco Rubio says, despite the court's decision, Obamacare is still a bad law that is having a negative impact on our country and on millions of Americans. If you consider expanded healthcare access a bad thing, then I guess you'll agree with him. He says, I remain committed to repealing this bad law and replacing, remember these words, repealing this bad law and replacing it with my consumer-centered plan that puts patients and families back in control of their healthcare decisions. We need consumer care, not Obamacare. Well, they do have that now because you can actually go on healthcare.gov and pick which plan you want. So I don't see what he's getting at here. Mike Huckabee writes, there isn't a do-over provision in our Constitution that allows unelected SCOTUS judges power to circumvent Congress and rewrite bad laws. They're not circumventing Congress. Congress passed the ACA. What don't you get about that? Ted Cruz writes, President Obama's healthcare law remains deeply unpopular, which is actually not true, and is harming countless Americans by increasing costs and worsening the quality of care. I remain fully committed to the repeal of Obamacare, every single word of it. Jeb Bush adds, as President of the United States, I would make fixing our broken healthcare system one of my top priorities. I will work with Congress to repeal and replace this flawed law with conservative reforms that empower consumers with more choices and control over their healthcare decisions. Rick Perry says, with individual premiums up more than 50% and nearly 5 million people losing their health plans, which is patently false, he adds, Americans deserve better than what we're getting with Obamacare. It's time we repealed and replaced it with truly affordable, patient-centered healthcare reform, and I look forward to laying out my ideas on this issue. I agree with him with the point that citizens do deserve better than Obamacare, but I don't agree with whatever plan he would implement. I'll explain that later. So, Rand Paul says Obamacare raises taxes, harms patients and doctors, and is the wrong fix for America's healthcare system. As president, I would make it my mission to repeal and propose a real solution for our healthcare system. Chris Christie writes, this decision turns common language on its head. Now, leaders must turn our attention to making the case that Obamacare must be replaced. Finally, Lindsey Graham says today's decision only reinforces why we need a president who will bring about real reform that repeals Obamacare and replaces it with a plan that expands consumer choice, increases coverage, delivers better value for the dollar, and gives states more control without stifling job creation. So the takeaway is that there's a common theme in all of their railings against Obamacare. It's repeal and replace it. Almost all of them said it. Now, when it comes to what they would replace Obamacare with, well, what is their plan? It's this. That's because they've got nothing. None of them have proposed a plan that would replace Obamacare. None of them has said anything at all. So really their goal is just to repeal Obamacare and just leave people hanging without their healthcare subsidies. This is a problem. It was a problem before Obamacare, and it's going to be a problem if they do choose to repeal it if one of them is elected. So my question for the viewers is, given that a single-payer system is the only realistic option, would you support free universal healthcare if it meant a raise to your taxes? Now, it may not necessarily raise your taxes. We could reallocate funds from defense spending, for example, in order to spend on healthcare. So would you support this? That's my question. Comment down below.